So there's only
let's see, I don't quite have.
so that would probably
Get all of you.
because otherwise if you just
Okay, let's see if we can get this lined up. Slow connection. Let's get a picture of the crowd here. Got a full packed room. We still got a few spaces open, and we got space against the wall. Anybody wants, come on down. Grab my water for me.
and they would lose their retirement because they make too much money. So you could talk to she told me she didn't know what she was going to do. They come
And then they're going to bring the rest of the Hi. Two right there, one right there. Some more on the other end.
Thank you.
Yep. There's two right here. Linda, there's one right here.
I can't believe how many people are here.
Oh, they're coming in. Yeah, come on in. There's some people. There you go.
Yeah, she was an math teacher at the middle school for years, retired, and if they didn't fill
Try and hold this still.
Oh, yeah. 2006. I was a little scared at the next few years are having areas. Right. This year, I know. There was 3 things that took them to because they didn't want to have yeah, but if we can't, so that's not going to be teachers. It's not
Caleb, see if you can grab some more chairs.
and they're way
And let's put another row right here. Grab like one, 2, 3, 4. Stick 4 right here. Let's see.
the longest school. So she's done 2 years. She, like, her and I talked quite a bit.
Did you say, hey, Steve?
And she was able to not like what was able to give.
Hey, yeah, put 4 right here. Steve, do you mind grabbing a couple? Maybe it could fit back there. Do you think?
Yeah, more chairs right there. Yeah.
Okay, would you mind? And then Caleb, come grab some and put a couple more over there. We'll put one on each row here and then take some on that end.
Are you okay with that?
Well,
They get free therapy sessions. There's the oil set up like kids.
And then, hey, you can also put one here for you, and then they can have your chair. Sorry, folks, we're just about to get started. We're just trying to fit more chairs in here. Got a packed room tonight. All right, here we go.
All right, we are approaching our 6:30 time slot to start. We have, first of all, I want to just introduce myself quickly. I'm Chris Ferguson. I chair the board for the Somerset Chamber. And so we host this event, and I got asked to moderate and keep things moving along and keep things sort of on track. Just to do a quick math check for everybody, we have 10 candidates. We have about 90 minutes. We're going to have, there's a little bit of transition in between, so if we can get probably 7 or 8 minutes of good answers from each candidate throughout the course, we'll try to, as much as we can, allow everyone to have roughly the same amount of time, but as you can imagine, that's probably not going to be a perfect system. We're going to start with we're going to go down the line, start with Kathy and work our way down to Steve, and ask everybody sort of the same question at the beginning, and that is just really, why are you running for the board? Why should people vote for you? And sort of what are those key attributes that you bring to the board that you're running for, that people should be aware of and want to vote for you. In this piece, if we can just keep your time to about 1.5 minutes, that would be great. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Chris. So I'm running for the Village Board of Trustees because I think that as a community, we have a really big opportunity to elevate the standards of our board. And that goes from everything from operating more efficiently to earning the trust of our community back. I worked on the CAP project, which is the Community Action Planning Project, as part of the village's comprehensive plan. And it was a huge opportunity for the village to come together and kind of create a vision for our future. And I was really surprised at how few people actually participated. I think there were about 10 or 12 of us every time. And what I asked, why? And what I heard, and I've heard a lot since, is that people don't want to get involved because they don't like the drama or the division or the political landscape, so they back away. And they certainly don't want to be caught in the crossfire. And that's disheartening to me. I think that everybody in the village deserves a voice. I think that people should feel safe coming to the board and presenting ideas and getting involved in our community. I'm also certified in servant leadership, and that's a leadership style where the leaders who serve the people put the needs of the people and the community that they serve above their own. And I think that's the type of leadership that Somerset needs. I think we need leaders who can check their agendas and their egos at the door, put aside their differences and go to work for the good of the people. I think that's what healthy communities do, and I think that's what Somerset deserves, and that's why I'm running.
Great, thank you. Chris?
Hi, I'm Chris Marino. I want to start by thanking you all for being here tonight. It's an honor to stand before you as a candidate who believes deeply in the values that built this community. I come from a blue-collar background, just like many of you here tonight. I've worked hard alongside my fellow workers to earn an honest living and provide for my family. Those values of hard work, determination, and solidarity run deep within me. In this forum, I want to talk about what matters most to us, the working people of our community. Too often, our voices are drowned out by those louder megaphones and deeper pockets, people with deeper pockets. But let me tell you, the strength of our community lies in the calloused hands and resilient spirit of our people. Blue-collar values are not just about punching a clock and collecting a paycheck. They're about integrity, looking out for one another, and standing up for what's right, even when it's hard. We are the lifeblood of our small town, shaping our identity and driving our economy. When we support our local workers, we strengthen the fabric of our community. It's about ensuring that every family has a fair shot at success, every business has a level playing field, and every child has a chance to build a brighter future right here at home. But most importantly, I'll never forget where I come from. I'll always be an advocate for the hardworking men and women who make our community thrive. So tonight, I'm asking for your support. Together, let's build a future where blue-collar values are not just a slogan, but a guiding principle for how we govern and live our lives. Vote for Chris Marino.
Thank you. And just for context, both of those are right around spot on, so just timing-wise. So, thanks, Tom. Donnie, you're next.
Just hang on, or can you hear me? I'm Donnie Kern. I was elected by a write-in last election, and 2 years ago. I moved to the village after being a town of Somerset, living in the town of Somerset for 20 years. And so when I moved to the village, a lot of people had realized that who I was and what I was about from being involved with church and other activities around the village. But when I moved to the village, I didn't even get my boxes unpacked, and I was elected as a write-in candidate. So I sat on the board, I accepted the challenge, I stepped forward and I asked a lot of the tough questions. And since then, we've been put forth with a very good budget. The budget is it only raised taxes on the house by $2. This last budget cycle was just $2 for $100,000 for the village taxes. Now, I'm not a really good public speaker, but I can tell you this: I've sat and listened to the village residents. Anybody that has ever brought something to me, I've responded to them. I've tried to get all of their answers taken care of. I serve as a chairman on the Public Works Committee. We've had a lot of things going on with construction last year, and I appreciate everybody's patience getting through all of that. That wasn't the work of me. All I did was communicate what I could to the village residents. I believe that communication is the key. Even though I don't speak very well, communication is a key to everybody knowing what's going on within our village. And if you have any questions or want answers on things, feel free to reach out to me. But I am looking for another term. I'm running again because 2 years just wasn't enough to get anything done. The stuff that we need to get done is going to take another term for me. And a lot of people asked me to run again. And I contemplated it, and I realized that it was necessary for me to make another run at it. And if I'm given 2 more years, there's a lot of good things that we can do with our parks. We've already started that process, and we've started fixing up around the village, and there's just a lot of more better things to come. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Donnie. Ken?
Hello, Somerset. So, my name is Ken Lehman. I've lived in this village for 22 months. So I currently am on the Planning Commission board right now. I like it. I'm all about community. I'm telling you, community is the most important thing to me. Over the last 35 years of my strong leadership, we've put some great things together in all of the communities I've ever lived in. Anywhere from the Susan G. Komen Foundation to Hunger Task Force, which is in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, blood drives in Virginia, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. You know, we just need to come together as a community. Now, I've lived in, overall, St. Croix County for 13 years. So my wife is she was born and raised in New Richmond, Wisconsin. So I've watched this community. And there's so many opportunities here. And I just don't understand why the movement has not happened yet. So that is the reason why I'm running for village trustee, because I know there's so many opportunities here. Parks we can do the river walk, Apple River, where people can actually walk down by the river, clean it all up. I mean, get this community looking good. We're a recreational community. A lot of people come here, they camp. In the summertime, I've seen it over and over. River's Edge, I guess, is no longer a fine and dine supper club. I guess it's a venue or something for weddings or whatever. But these are the things that you guys used to have here. I don't know where it went. So I'm here to tell you that with my 35 years of leadership, it's not going to happen overnight. I can tell you that right now. 2 years isn't going to make it happen, but over time it will. So I'm very much involved in the community. Somerset Pantry, I don't donate a lot, my family and I. It's very important. We need that. We probably need more of that because a lot of people need help. So anyways, vote for me on the 2nd. I promise you, I will get the job done.
Great, thanks, Ken. Corey?
Hi, I'm Corey Cole. I'm running to retain my seat on the school board. Much like Donnie, public speaking is not my forte, so bear with me. I've lived in this district for 28 years, graduated in 2003. I'm really proud of the education that I got. I had a lot of inspirational teachers, other staff members that made a real impact on me, and I think we have some of the same teachers, a lot of new ones that have that same drive. So I'm hoping to keep my seat to make sure those teachers are supported, our students are supported, our tax dollars are spent efficiently and effectively. The best thing I can bring to a board is an open mind. I can work with the people that have the opposite of ideas on how to get something done, find a little common ground, and start to build that foundation of a conversation where we can build towards getting things done and done effectively. We're not going to have a lot of time tonight, but if anybody has questions, you can always reach out to me, Facebook, email, grab me after this, whatever you need. Thank you.
Thank you, Corey.
Hey everybody, I'm Ruth Harleen. I live on the Apple River with my partner Carol of almost 30 years, who's here 1 week after knee replacement surgery, and my 22-year-old son Ben. Why am I running for the school board? Well, I've been actively engaged in this community since Ben started the 1-2-3 program up at the school district. I had endless hours of volunteering. I worked in the computer labs, managing them for a year and a half when Ben was in elementary school. I also coached youth soccer for 5 years, which was an absolute blessing for me. I got to meet very many people in the community at that point. I'm still friends with many of the parents and with their children, and I have lots of teacher friends in the community as well. I love our community. Our community has been fractured recently in the last number of years. I think political divisiveness, I think the pandemic, hostility among neighbors. I think that it's unfortunate. I'd like to help be a bridge to getting back to the common values that we all share. We want to keep our kids safe. We want to provide exceptional education for them. And we want to draw businesses into our community. And we want to treat each other like neighbors again. We really do. I'm also running for the board because I want to try to be an alternative to people who are trying to push extremist ideas. We're not doing our kids any favors when we do that. We need to give our kids tools so that they can navigate this world that they're living in. They have so many things that they have to deal with out in this world right now. They have school shootings. They have social media backlash. They're full of anxiety. They're not going to be able to handle this world without giving them the tools to do so. I heard from a recent student not long ago who didn't want to be mentioned because she faces backlash. She doesn't want her parents to face backlash. But she said one of the biggest things that she has faced in going to an out-of-state school is her lack of diversity training. She doesn't know how to manage it out there in the world. We need to make sure that our kids are prepared for this world that they are starting to inherit. And we have to do it by giving them the tools they need. And that's, okay, why should you vote for me? Because
Actually,
am I done?
Yeah, you are, yep. So,
I am a nice person though, and I really want to try to
Thank you. You'll have more chance, for sure. All right, Jan, you're up.
My name's Danny Erickson. Lately I have been labeled as an extremist, but I do have a great passion and desire to see the Somerset schools, kids, and community thrive and succeed. In my family, we do prioritize the building of strong moral character and critical thinking, and we do expect schools to align with this mission. Academic excellence should be the standard, preparing every K-12 student to be a productive member of society. Curriculum transparency and parental involvement from all parents is necessary to ensure a rich education experience, and I would be encouraging that. And I do think voting at the local level, voting for the school board is one of your most important votes. I do ask for your vote. I do want to be a voice for the parents and to be a liaison for the parents, students, and community, to the administrators, but especially for parents. The Parental Rights Foundation conducted a study of Americans in 2022 across the nation with this statement. In general, parents have the constitutional right to make decisions for their children without government interference unless there is proof of abuse or neglect. 90% of Republicans agreed with this statement, as well as 83% of Democrats, 78% agreement from independents. Support for this is strong across all ethnicities. Whites 85% agree, blacks 75% agree, Asians 76% agree, and Hispanics 85% agree. And so we see parental rights cuts across all party lines, ethnic lines, and gender lines. Thank you.
Thank you. Lauren, you're up.
Hi, I'm Lori Belargin, and is that a little closer? Yep. Okay. So I'm Lori Belargin, and I grew up in Somerset. My husband and I both graduated from Somerset schools. Our children graduated from Somerset schools. I was a teacher in the district for 26 years. I've been on the school board for 6 years, but I started going to school board meetings when our oldest child was 2 years old. So I've been attending school board meetings for 36 years. One of the main reasons I decided to run for re-election is because of my experience and background knowledge in the district. We have a 7-member board. 5 of them are in their first term, so they have fewer than 3 years of experience. My broad knowledge of our district's history in all of my previous and current roles provides a wealth of experience, which has proven beneficial to the Somerset School District, community, and board.
Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Kristen Cisco. I'm running for school board. I've lived in Somerset going on 20 years with my husband and 2 children. One was born here, the other one moved here when she was 9 months old. I'm from a big city and my husband's from a very small town. So we were trying to find somewhere in between that we could raise our kids. I was a teacher for 20 years, so it was very important to me to look at schools and school systems. My husband thought I was a little crazy back then. I went to every single school district, talked to every single superintendent, and was more than impressed with how progressive Somerset was. I had the opportunity when I was younger to travel the world, so I've seen many schools, many places all over the world. So I had a misconceived notion about small towns, being what my husband's told me about his small town. And so I was very, very impressed. So much impressed that both of my kids went through the entire program. One graduated, the other one will graduate next year. And then for the end of my career, I decided to come be a teacher here in Somerset. I worked at the elementary, the middle school, and the high school. Mostly the high school, but I did do when, because I have 4 different types of licensure, so when there was space and time available, I would sub over at the elementary and the middle school. And then I was the principal director with a co-director for summer school multiple years. So education is my passion. The only reason I am not a teacher now is because of the climate, post-COVID and post last election. It took a really big toll on me and my family, and it was too much to keep going. So I am running for school board because I want to bring back some of those ideas of community, togetherness, supporting our teachers, not bashing our teachers for the things that they're not doing, because we are educated, we are certified. Many teachers out there that I know, that I see out there, have multiple levels of education all the way up to doctorates. They know what they're doing, they know what to do with their kids. I trusted them with mine, and both of my kids turned out pretty okay, I think. Maybe. They're still developing, but and they had a wonderful experience. They could do anything from college level classes to alternative education to sports to music, and it was always encouraged for every single student, and I missed out on that when I was young, being in a big district. So I love our district, and that's why I want to be here and help out.
Great. Thank you. All right. I'm Stephen Degelau, and I'm running for Somerset School Board because I've got a daughter who's in 2nd grade right now, and I am worried about her future. You know, we moved out to Somerset for the smaller community, the smaller school, and the values that this town has. We love the small town values. That needs to be reflected in our schools. We are not the Twin Cities here. We do not need to reflect, our schools do not need to have the same kind of DEI and woke policies as the Twin Cities. Okay, so that's my big concern. You know, I've been labeled an extremist as well. And why is that? That word just gets thrown around like it has no meaning. Well, you know, 44 years ago when they came up with the Department of Education, it just seems like every year from then until now, our schools are a playground for the far left. And it's about time to put a stop to that. So that's why I'm running. I care about my daughter. I care about this town. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we had an opportunity. Becca did a great job of grabbing questions from the community. So we collated some of those questions, or all of those questions, and there was a few different themes that came in on a number of the questions, and some of them that many of the candidates hit on today, and some we'll try to explore a little bit. So maybe we'll start on the school board side, and I think just something that, you know, grew up in Canada, lived in New York, I've been in this greater area for about 25 years now, and there's, you know, schools are an important factor that draw people to communities, right? So getting a school board that understands what it takes to make a great school district is an important part of what draws people to a community, that makes it, you know, something that the village board is going to think about, how do we grow this community? But without good schools, it's very difficult to attract people that want to come and live in a community. And clearly we have some very different perspectives when it comes to what actually good schools would mean and would represent. And often it takes, you know, when you have people with different views on a board, one of the things that's critical is everybody's got to, hopefully you may get a mix of people that get elected, but people have to find a way to work together to actually pass something, because if you don't pass anything, then schools don't get funded, and we have a bigger problem. So assuming we have a mix of views that end up on the school board, to all the candidates, you know, we'll start maybe with Steve and work our way back. How would you work with people of different views and perspectives, and how would you work to bring in some of those different perspectives so that both your perspectives can be reflected in school policy, as well as, you know, some of the others on the board, so things can actually get passed, as opposed to just sort of having a stalemate maybe between two different sides and two different perspectives.
All right. So that's great in theory, but people do have different opinions and values. And I'll tell you, being a pilot and having 3 different emergencies and surviving that, you better know who the person is that's next to you. So yes, I can work together with people in crisis situations. But this shouldn't be a crisis situation. But currently, the board seems to be allowing the superintendent to run the narrative and how things are going to run without any checks. You know, we have checks and balances here in this country, and we need to preserve that on the school board too. So we're going to have different perspectives. Some things I can negotiate on. I'm great at persuading, and but at the same time, there's some things that we can't compromise on. When it comes to school safety, no, absolutely not. Right now, we do not have a school resource officer, so that's a real problem. And you know, $48,000 would take care of that problem. But when parents are leaving the district, parents aren't buying what the schools are selling. So we need to look at some of these big problems. It's right out the gate.
Kristen?
So I believe that diversity on the board and compromise is the only way to get anything done. When you have different opinions and different ideas, it grows you. It doesn't stunt you. It makes you see where other people are coming from, how they live their lives, what they find important and value in. Our board should be diverse. It should have people from every different, idea and background. And that's one of the reasons I'm running. I think we need some of that value back to our board that says it's okay to disagree and then still come to some sort of decision that makes it better for all students, better for all teachers. I believe I can do that. I have done that. I've worked in classrooms from, urban, rural, suburban areas, very different ideas from parents, teachers, kids about how to live their lives, and that's a good thing. That's what we want. We want to see our kids go out and be able to play well with others, not be stuck in just one way or one view. And that's how you push policies forward too, is keeping progressive people on a board that can move things forward. And so that's my hope for our board, whoever gets on there.
So the most important part of a positive culture and collaboration is attitude. Coming together with an open mind, ready to consider other viewpoints, listen attentively, while being kind and polite and respectful to each other. They're all key components of a positive attitude, which is essential to collaboration. As a school board member must also be free of conflicts of interest and influence of special interest groups. I plan to attend meetings well prepared, ready to ask questions, to listen, communicate clearly, and to make informed decisions while always keeping in mind the ultimate goal of our district is to provide the best possible educational opportunities for all students in a fiscally responsible manner. Oh, and if I still have time, I'd like to address the school resource officer comment that Steve made. We do have a school resource officer. His contract has changed, so it's costing the district less money for more service than we were getting in the previous years.
Danny?
Can you remind me of the question again?
Just working together with people of different perspectives. Not everybody's necessarily, if you win, not everybody will vote for you, but you do represent everybody in the district.
Yes, absolutely. The students matter, families matter, community members matter. So all input matters. I do love to talk to all people, and especially those who hold a different viewpoint from myself. I really do enjoy reaching across and trying to understand where they're coming from. It's important to show kindness and respect and compassion for all points of view, even when there is disagreement. So I do enjoy the challenge of working with all people. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna just throw this out here. It's a nonpartisan election, right, for school board. I don't think it's been treated that way. I am old enough to remember the days when Republicans and Democrats actually worked together on issues. When it was our job to sit down, roll up our sleeves at the table, and come up with solutions that worked for everybody. I think if Democrats ruled the world, it would be a shit show. And I believe if Republicans ruled the world, it would be the same. We need input from all sides in order to come up with solutions that work for everybody. I have no problem with working with people with differing opinions than I do. I think the book banning attempt this summer was a good example of that. Those of us who were fighting against the book ban tried very hard to make sure that the parents who had concerns about books had options available to them. We beefed up the opt-out option for these parents. We have to consider the needs of all of the parents in the district, and we gotta look out for the kids. And I enjoy having good, strong conversations with people I don't agree with. Thank you.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious that as a community, there's a very diverse range of opinions on how our kids should be best educated. I believe our school board should share that diverse range. So, I mean, left, right, I don't think it matters. I'm that guy in the middle that works with people. I'm a problem solver, and that's my day job, is solve problems. I like the opposing views because even though they think they're super far apart, people are generally a lot closer to a solution than they realize. And it's open communication, respectful discussion, and active listening will get you to those answers that can help and benefit all our students and staff. Thank you.
Thank you. So there was a similar question, somewhat similar question that came up on the village side, and that is, there was a series of questions that came up around code of conduct, sort of drama around the village board, and I think the question really is what that came through was, what's your stance on enforcing the code of conduct that is in place for the village board members, and what would your thoughts be around trying to eliminate some of the drama around some of the village board meetings and sort of have I assume what's coming out of it is more have the village board function maybe a little bit more efficiently without the drama that sometimes seems to exist at some of the board meetings. We'll start with Ken.
Hello again. So I don't care what board you're on, you still have to work as a team. That's the bottom line. Unity is the only way. You're not always going to agree on a similar situation, but it can be talked through and compromised, but integrity cannot be compromised. Policies and procedures are in place to be followed. That's the bottom line.
I would say, my dad always said I'm like an old diesel engine. It takes me a little while to get warmed up, but once I get going, I'm good for the day. So with regards to code of conduct, it was brought up at a village board meeting. There's a lot of laws that already govern us as a board. One thing that is not explained in the laws is the integrity aspect of it. And having the decency of being able to come to these meetings and carry on the business that's needed to be transacted through the agenda and everything, I think has been getting done. The drama, unfortunately, is something that seems to keep welling up over and over and over again, and I try to stay on task as best I can with those actions to keep on the agenda and keep doing the business for the village. The drama, as they say, that comes out, we had already discussed a code of conduct that was brought forth, and a lot of the things that was in there I had serious reservations with because a lot of it was, some of it conflicted with current law. And I wasn't interested in doing anything like that, but I was willing to work towards the middle ground on getting some harder language. But I think getting good teeth in or understanding of what is expected of the trustees is a good thing, and it would help for better governance in the long run. And I'm encouraged to see something like that come forward.
Hey. I got my stuff written down because I get very nervous at doing this. So, in serving as a trustee, I'm fully committed to upholding and enforcing our code of conduct without exception. Recognizing that we are continuously under the watchful eye of the community we serve. It's my belief that to truly earn and maintain public trust, we must hold ourselves and each other to the highest standard of behavior and ethics. And it seems to we need to do better.
Thanks, Chris. So I love this question, and I did some research, and I couldn't find a village board code of conduct. I looked on the websites, and I even reviewed the village employee handbook. What I did find is that the village has a code of ethics, and it's a little vague. There's not a lot of detail in it, and as Donnie alluded to, it follows the state code of ethics for elected officials. In my mind, it just kind of scratches the surface. It says what we should do ethically, but there's no accountability built in there. And I think considering our past history and our recent track record with our village board issues, we need more than the bare minimum. So I do support having a code of conduct for the village board members. I think it's important. I think if we want to get the drama out of the board, we need to hold people to a certain standard, and we need tools to do that, and a code of conduct would do that. I also really big supporter in kind of in this technology world that we live in. I think that board members should sign a technology use agreement. I think everybody at every job that they have probably has to sign one, and I think that would help things a little bit. You know, I do want to say when it comes to the drama, one of the things that I do appreciate with this group of village board candidates is that so far this election has been really drama-free. And I really appreciate that. I've worked with Chris a little bit. Donnie's a big supporter of the Champions. Ryan, who's not here tonight, I've got a lot of respect for him, so I like that, and I'm really thankful for that. So I'm hopeful. But I think the way we get drama out is to hold people accountable. I think at this level of governance, we should expect our leaders to be able to exercise emotional intelligence, check their emotions, really focus on doing what's best for the community, because I feel like when people lead from a point of emotion, that's where the drama comes in.
Great, thank you. One of the sort of measures when you think about a school district, if you look at school districts around, you know, if a lot of students are open enrolling in a district, it's usually a positive sign that parents in surrounding districts, and some people drive, you know, across 3 or 4 school districts to bring their kids to a particular school district because it has something that they offer. Other school districts have a net outflow of students, right? So they have, you look at the number of school-age kids in their district, there's fewer kids in the district than there should be. So when you think of sort of the Somerset district, what kinds of things do you think are causing some parents to enroll out of the district? And what could you do as a board or trustee to encourage more families to open enroll into the district to increase the numbers, and then obviously increase the funding that comes into the district for all of the things that people would like to do? We'll start with Corey.
So I've actually had this conversation with our superintendent because it was a concern I had when I got onto the board. A few main reasons. One, there's students that are kind of right on that border, let's say between Hudson and Somerset. Their parents went to Hudson. Those kids get open enrolled because that's where their parents want. Those are kids we probably never had a chance at getting into our district. The second reason kind of came up with COVID, the virtual schooling. It sounds like our program is lacking compared to some of the other districts. So when kids didn't want to come to school or their parents didn't want them to come to school, they were looking at other options. Our district is looking into improving that virtual program. So I don't know if there's a lot we can do right now other than wait and see and then hold people accountable if we don't get results. The other reason, and probably the main reason, is a host of little reasons. It could be bullying, teaching styles that parents don't agree with, or it doesn't work for the kids. There is no cut and dry answer to how we fix that immediately. The district is sending out surveys to students. I believe there's one going out to the parents in the spring. Hopefully those can help us narrow down some of those issues that are causing families to leave. Once we know those issues, then the board and the administration can come up with a plan of attack.
Just Corey, any quick thoughts on bringing people back in? What would the district do?
I believe the improvements coming with the referendum. I'm hoping that will help. Obviously, there's not just the building upgrades, but the performing arts center, the track, that kind of thing should help. I hope. And as our population grows, hopefully we get some of those, families moving in.
Wonderful. Thank you, Ruth. Just both sides of it.
Okay. I agree with Corey, I think that the pandemic did a number on any number of school districts in our area. I think a lot of populations have dropped as a result of that. I think we do need to survey parents who are leaving the district to find out what the reasons are for them leaving. I personally can tell you that I pulled my son, our son, out of Somerset in his senior year for personal reasons. I know there's a multitude of reasons that happen for a lot of different parents across the board, but we need to find out what those reasons are. In terms of getting kids to open enroll into our district, I think we need to advertise some of the great things we're doing here at Somerset. We have a great robotics program. I just posted on my my school district school candidacy webpage that the video from St. Croix Central, their inclusion video. We need things like that that show what our community is, what our school district is doing to communities around us. And I think those sorts of things can only but help improve our vision in the area. We also need to cut down on some of the rhetoric on our social media sites, because I think anybody who's coming into our community and looking at the Somerset, Wisconsin community pages is going to see a horribly toxic environment. And they're going to wonder what in the heck we're doing over here and what's going on. We need to treat each other as neighbors better. And that's what I think will help us well. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I do think the $1 million question, why families are leaving the district, nobody seems to know the answer for that for sure at this time. It could be a combination of leaving for sports programs, it could be for bullying, it could be for some parents feeling the educational needs of their kids are not being met. An honest conversation with each family leaving and documentation of that to start some kind of a flow chart or analysis would be helpful to start retaining families and growing our numbers. From what I understand, we need around 100 more students to maintain our budget, and the best thing that we can do to maintain those students is figure out why people are leaving. I do think our school district is attractive because we are in a small town, and that can help make people feel really secure and to know the other families that you're around. I think that's a great asset. Thank you.
Great, thanks.
So in knocking on doors the past few weeks, I've talked with parents who have open enrolled their children out of the district. And most of the reason has to do with convenience. For example, I think Corey might have said something about people living on the border and they work in Hudson. So some of the parents have decided to open enroll because of convenience. Some are open enrolling because of a past connection with another school district. For example, we have students who open enroll into Somerset because they started here, but then they moved out of the district, but they wanted to stay in the Somerset School District. In analyzing the numbers every year, we have a school board meeting that takes a look at our open enrollment numbers going in and out. And for the most part, we're good in the middle school and the elementary school. There's some in and out, it breaks about even, maybe a little bit to the advantage. Lately, the numbers at the high school, however, have been more out than in. I have a couple of ideas about why that might be, and I think the board needs to take a close look at some of the things that are going on at the high school. I'm concerned about the flex mod schedule. I think that COVID definitely had a part of it. Our virtual education also had an impact, especially after COVID. There are school districts that are open enrolling to virtual programs with much less requirements to graduate than Somerset has. And our superintendent recently said, I don't have any interest in lowering our expectations at Somerset, and neither do I. You know, we have high standards and we have a good school system, and my kids have done excellently after leaving the Somerset School District. So did I answer the question?
Kristen?
So, I know teaching 20 years, trends and patterns, and what I see is when people leave a district, it's extremely personal. It has usually nothing necessarily to do with a specific teacher, a specific administrator, a specific program. It's usually very personal. There's things that go on at home that we don't know. Kids with, mental health issues, or the need for a program that doesn't, fit them at the school that they're at. That happens in every single district, in every single place. Of course, our favorite word, COVID, did nobody any favors, and it didn't do Somerset any favors either. I know multiple families that I have personal relationships that are concerned about teachers leaving. They want our good teachers to stay and teach kids, and they are interested in looking in other programs where they don't have to worry that their good teachers are going to leave. I have 3 people that I'm thinking of right now that have asked me, well, what can we do? How, and not being in the district anymore breaks my heart. Yes, the board does need to look at that. I think we need to better advertise. We have amazing programs. The things that I saw on the last board meeting that the elementary is doing, all the after-school programs that the middle school has, and the high school, you guys, has great programs for high, middle, low. They're not being utilized because people don't know about them. And I think that is a good place to start, is to get your own personal education on what is there and what's available. And then also what has left because of this divisiveness. There are programs that don't exist anymore, my program, because it's not something that was viable for someone to stay and just keep eating all that negativity.
Thank you. Steve?
Okay, hope you don't mind me standing, but I've got a little chart here to show. So I've got some enrollment figures here. In 2011, before the bridge, a lot of development out here, we had 1,618 students. Currently, we have 1,457. We've lost 10 this year, according to what I see. So our district population has increased by 20%. Now, we got to treat this school as a business. When we figure that out, things will change. So we're talking about security. $8,000 of security now is better than $48,000, and having a full-time SRO at the school, I don't know how that makes sense. Because when I go to the school, I don't see an officer, I don't see a police car. Unless I complain, then they'll be out there for a couple days. That happens. So we need to understand that parents are going to continue to find different avenues of education. They don't have to settle for a public school if another school can teach their kids better and give them better opportunities for academic excellence. So we don't have a gifted intelligent program anymore. So we have these budget cuts. What happens? Our school enrollment goes down. It's going to spiral out of control if we don't get a hold of this. So, when we start treating it as a business, there's actually businesses in town that want to work with the school, and it's been really difficult for them as I talk to them about it. So, we don't need to be complacent. We don't need to settle for mediocrity. Let's move forward.
All right, a question for the village board candidates. One of the things, I've been here about a year and a half, one of the things, there's lots of debate around development. And so I think as I talk to people, there's different views of what good development would look like. And maybe I'll just ask each of you, Kathy, I'll start with you. What does good development in the village look like to you, and then what would you do to try to make that happen here in the village?
So I think, to me, good development in the village is a thriving downtown. That's something that we've talked about a lot on the community or the Somerset Champions Council, more businesses, more support for our local businesses, more industry, more places for people to come in. You know, like the big toy company, they almost left us because we didn't have room for them. Luckily, they stayed to grow with us. I think that we need to find more air pockets where we can develop industry on the outer parts of the village, and then I also think we need a more downtown, and I know that that's in the works, and I think as a village we need to support that. We need to look at our kids and see what we can do to get that property developed. And then as far as homes go, you know, homes are popping up everywhere right now, and we're even looking at bringing in more, and I think that that growth is going to come whether we like it or not. I know people would like to keep us small, and we do. We want to keep that small town charm because that's what makes Somerset Somerset. But the growth is coming. St. Croix County is the largest growing county in Wisconsin, and we know that growth is coming. So we need to be strategic about how we plan that growth. We need to be thoughtful. We need to really focus on our resource allocation when we talk about growing, so that we as citizens can manage that growth and control it and keep up with it, because otherwise it's just going to kind of take us over and we're not going to have much say in it, and that concerns me. I just think prioritizing our community resources and making sure that we as a board are working as efficiently as possible and really focused on growth strategies, really well planned out, detailed growth strategies is going to be key for us.
Okay, thank you. Chris?
Can you repeat the question again?
You know, there's development is coming, right? What, in your view, does good development look like? And how would you, as a member of the village board, work to make that happen?
I was talking to Kathy earlier. I feel that, unfortunately, yeah, I love this small town feel. We're 8 minutes from Stillwater, 30 minutes from St. Paul. People are going to want to be here. So I guess the best part about being on the board is to be able to at least be able to have a say in how we do grow, and we are going to grow. I feel like we need to get a little bit more industry in here. We want to keep the taxes down for our people, and the wastewater is kind of going to be a big deal too at some point. So we're going to there's a lot of things that we're going to have to address going forward. What it would look like. It's going to be interesting, but it's great to be here to be able to work with the people, and let the people have a say in what's going on, and not just a few select few.
Okay, thank you.
So that's all good. So that's a very good point that in a question that's been brought up. From being on Public Works, growth is something that I would look at very cautiously. I'm very supportive of growth. I mean, we just approved 138 new home development going in just north of town here. There's another development that's out in Winesap that's kind of put on hold because we can't figure out, we can't get the developer to give us a good plan for stormwater drain off. And if that doesn't happen, you know, we put a stop to it. I've been holding these developers accountable with our public works directors and economic developers, saying, you know, if you say you're going to do something in a developers agreement, you do it. And if they don't, then we put a stop to it. And that's what we did with Winesap. And until they come around and give us a decent plan on how to handle stormwater and better development than what they had originally, we'll have to figure out some other way to use that land, or they'll have to figure that out themselves, and hopefully they'll come to some solution there. I think growth is a key word, is smart growth, because I believe there needs to be a mix. You have to have industry, you have to have business, and you have to have single family homes, but you also need to have multifamily homes. And we're currently talking right now with some multifamily, because we need to have people in town, not only just that aren't looking to put down roots, but are here to maybe settle, work, and maybe move on. And right now, we're just putting up single family homes. That puts a major stress on our public works. And I said, what are we doing with the impacts on all this? And it hasn't been reviewed in over 12 years. So the impact fees that are assessed on every one of these houses that's going on, we've already satisfied all of that as a community of what was expected to be done with those impact fees. Now let's step to the next level. And that next level is, what are we going to do? What do you want our community to look like? And we're trying to engage everybody, saying, do we want better parks? Do we want, in the last 12 years, we've managed to pay for and provide for this facility that we're in right now through impact fees. And them impact fees we have to look at our sewer, we have to look at our water. We're good on the sewer capacity aspect, because that was taken care of before I took into office, but one thing we are struggling with right now is water capacity. And we're going to have to look at, as more homes come in, we're going to have to look at that additional strain on our water capacity. And that's either additional wells or something on that lines, which comes at a cost. And we're trying to prevent that cost to be on the current residents, but on hopefully new future residents through the needs assessment. So that's what I'm looking at right now is the smart growth aspect of it. And if we can get a good mix, yes, we got industry here. Yes, we need more industry. We also need multifamily, and we also need a good business tax base, and that we get that through the TID districts right now too. So
great, thank you, Ken.
So I agree with all of the candidates. We do need some growth here. So it's manageable. And we need the right contractors to come in here with integrity, not just any contractors. Because they can come in here and they can do all this expansion and all this, and it's completely wrong. So integrity is a big deal with me. So we do need some more rooftops. We do need some retail. We do need a solid, sustainable industrial park so that people that live in this community can work in this community, so that they can spend their money that they earn and keep it in this community. And that's the way that I look at growth. We have this bridge that was built, and it's easy access here, right? But it all has to come together. School system, rooftops, retail, industrial park, it all has to come together. It's not one or the other, but it all has to line up.
Thank you. One of the keys of having a good school district is being able to attract and retain our teachers and our administrators, for that matter. What would you do differently to work to attract and retain the teachers to this district so that we can make sure we're providing a great education to the students? Corey?
So as far as attracting and retaining new teachers, our superintendent has currently taken our staff and gone around and had a little rounding process and tried to touch base with all our staff to see what's working, where their struggles are, and really try to get a feel on what's going to help them the best. I mean, I'd love to pay all our teachers six-figure salaries, but with a district or any school district, that's just not feasible, unfortunately. So we're trying to find little ways to make it easier and give them those little perks that don't show up on a paycheck, unfortunately. So as a school board member, we need to follow through with any recommendations we're given. One of the big strains that our teachers were saying was a shortage of substitute teachers. So they were giving up essentially their free time to help cover and take care of openings that needed coverage. The school board recently gave a raise to the substitute teachers. The daily rate went up, hoping to attract some more. Time will tell how that works. That just got passed. The other thing we need to do is just hold our superintendent accountable. Again, if she's doing these rounding processes and nothing comes from it, no ideas come from it, or if the teachers are sharing issues and nothing's happening, if it's not coming to the board for recommendations, there's obviously a disconnect between teachers and school board. So we need to make sure that doesn't happen as these rounding processes continue.
Well, first and foremost, I want to say we have the best teachers in Somerset. We really I know they're trying to do a whole lot more with a whole lot less than they've ever had before. I think one of the first things we can do is we can appreciate them and we can respect them. I think we also need to allow them more creativity in how they address our students' needs, because there is nobody better trained than our teachers to do that. I think there are some things that the board has some say-so over. I think we can take a look at pay scales. I think we have some latitude to do that. I think we can also work to try to get better health insurance and things of that nature for our teachers, because they're paying way too much right now. I think the whole, I've heard from some elementary school teachers who say that class size, and especially in 4th grade, is a real issue. I think we have to start to try to predict what these class sizes are. And maybe it's not the best idea for teachers, but we have to rotate some staff around so that we don't have class sizes that are unmanageable with a whole lot of special needs kids in those classes, so that they can spend more time with the kids on an individual basis. Since 2010, the legislature has stopped providing per pupil increases for our students. We have horrible budgetary cuts. But if we can just let our teachers know that we're there with them and we support them 100%, I think that'll go a long way, because that's all they want to know, is that we appreciate them. Thank you.
So I would like to see teachers and staff surveyed twice a year, anonymously. I would like teachers to have a survey focused on satisfaction and another one on engagement. The teacher satisfaction could help determine overall happiness levels of teachers and the contributing factors, while the teacher engagement survey could understand what factors impact the productivity of teachers. What impacts the productivity of teachers the most? These might uncover a lot of information that teachers and staff might not always be willing to share, such as their feelings on overall happiness levels, best practices for teachers, student challenges, administration challenges, school curriculums and policies, and support or resources that they need to better perform their job. And then hopefully action plans could be put into place by administration to improve upon or maintain these results.
So to begin addressing the hiring and retention of highly qualified staff requires a commitment to strategic allocation of resources. Salaries and benefits are over 80% of a school district's budget. And as Ruth already mentioned, we have not been getting a lot of support from our state legislature. Every day, Somerset teachers and support staff are doing their best to provide quality instruction and support to all students. The challenge becomes even greater when they must meet the needs of additional children in their classrooms because of a lack of subs for certified staff and support staff. Recently, the board approved, as Corey mentioned, an increase in sub-pay for both certified and support positions. And I've been told by office staff that they've received additional applications for subbing in our district. So I'm hopeful that this will reduce stress for staff as well as provide a better learning environment for our children. One of the biggest ways we can better retain our great teachers and staff is by supporting them, as Ruth mentioned as well. I know many of our staff members personally, and I find it difficult to believe that we have a single staff member in our district who doesn't genuinely care about and have the best interest of all of their students at heart. Teachers and support staff have very difficult jobs. All of us need to treat them with kindness, respect, and consideration. If a parent has a concern, the first step is to have a conversation with the teacher. A teacher contacting a parent about a child who's missing work or is distracting others in the classroom is a teacher who cares about your child. If a parent continues to have a problem, of course the next step would be to go to the administrator in that building. It's the administrator's job to evaluate staff. And if Somerset truly has a staff member who's not providing a suitable learning environment, it's the administrator's job to address it and provide support to help that staff member grow. And then the third step would be to meet with the superintendent if the first two steps don't work. But more than anything, to better retain our great teachers and staff in Somerset is by offering them the support and the kindness and the respect that they deserve, because I think we have fabulous staff.
Great, thanks, Lori.
I don't know that I can add much more than what has been said. I will say the surveys that Danny was talking about do happen. They happen twice a year, and the data is used, and I do believe it does go to the board for purview to look at, and it's happiness scales, it's scales on how you feel about your team, about your boss, about your class sizes. If I remember correctly, it's been a couple years now, it's a couple hundred questions. It's a big deal, and sometimes that's given yearly, sometimes it's given twice a year. You have to also understand, like Lori said, your teachers are highly educated. They are vetted when they come in, and then they go through a very rigorous process every single year that the Department of Education puts out to make sure that they are meeting specific standards in their areas for your students. And if they aren't, there's plans to address that through both teams, administration, and then all the way up to sometimes the school board. So there are all these safeties put in place to make sure that we do have good teachers in our schools. Now, to get good teachers and retain teachers, similar to like what the village was talking about down there, we need to be attractive. We do need to look at pay scales. We did that about 6 or 7 years ago, if I remember correctly, and we pulled in all the districts that are similar size, similar demographics, things like that, and we were one of the bottom. I'm not going to say it was the bottom, or I don't remember, but we were not very high up there. And I will tell you, as a teacher that came from Minnesota, I took a vast pay cut. And our teachers are 5 minutes from the Minnesota border, where they can make quite a bit more money and get a lot more services because they can levy money over there for staff. So the teachers do need to be appreciated. They need to be supported. I also liked what the village said about partnering with the schools. They do partner with the businesses here. You need to look into academy. You need to look into consumer education, all those things, the middle school, and how they get some of their funding projects and what they give to the community. Those are all there. We need to advertise better. We need to get out there and find teachers that would be attracted to being here and living here and being part of the community. So like I said before, we do need to advertise more. Health insurance was something I was speaking about with Ruth, because I never took our health insurance. It was ridiculous, the cost to families of teachers to be able to afford that. So as a school board, I think we need to look into those things. Again, like Lori said, allocating 80% of the budget. I know some districts do more than that because your staff is going to be the heartbeat and what makes the kids do better. And this is probably an unpopular opinion. I like those sometimes. Not necessarily football, baseball. You know, those things are amazing. Those are good for character building. They are integral, but they should not be a top budget issue. And I think that's something that the board needs to take a look at.
Steve?
So what we need is a bold vision. And the problem is, if we can keep talking about, well, we need to increase pay, that's fine. But what's the viability financially of our school? Until we make the schools attractive to parents to want to come back here and enroll their kids, we're going to have money issues. That's just all there is to it. So the best thing, well, you know, outside of money, look, we've got a heavy administration costs with the amount of money that the administrators are paid. Here's a novel idea. Maybe cut some administration and hire back those teachers that we let go last year. One of them was my daughter's teacher. She was fantastic. She was a former Marine. She was a great teacher, and she's gone. So that's what can be done. It's really simple. Let's make it financially viable to do all these things we want to do and bring back more teachers and teachers that have specialized programs so that we can market the school and make it spiral up instead of down. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we'll ask one final question. It'll obviously be a little bit different for the two sides, but as you just, you know, each of you is running for election. You know, I will encourage everybody here to vote. Right, one of the beauties of living in a democratic country is you actually get the choice to vote. I would tell people, if you don't vote, you don't really have the right to complain, right? So because if you didn't go out and vote, you know, you get what you get. If you go out and vote, that's the first step in making that choice and that decision. The decisions that you all will make over the next couple of years when you're in office will shape what direction this community goes in the next 20 or 30 years. How do you see that vision? What steps do you want to put in place? What would you like to see for this community 20, 30 years from now when people who have young kids are making that decision to stay here, businesses are continuing to grow and expand? So what would you see that vision, and then just a final pitch for why we should vote for you? Actually, we'll start with Steve, and we'll give Kathy the last word as she was forced to start last time. So, Steve?
Once again, I envision, obviously, the community being healthy and robust, and to do that, you need a great school so that families want to move here. We moved here from Minnesota, and we love the community, but we need to take it up a notch with our school. So here's some goals. Let's increase enrollment by 65 students. That's a minimum, and that should be done in the next couple of years. That's $1 million right there. We're giving $1 million away to the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction because we're losing our kids that live in this district. We're driving away parents for programs, and we're doubling down on DEI. That's not what parents want. They don't want to buy that. I'm sorry, what you're selling, they don't want to buy. Gender ideology, climate ideology, we hear about these things in school. We get some books in the library that are not suitable for my second grader over here. You know, come on, let's get rid of the garbage and bring back quality education. I went to a great public school. We didn't have anything. We had diverse opinions. People believed in different things, and they weren't shut up because they didn't believe in a particular viewpoint. We had open discussions. School resource officers, very important. 2023 was a record year for school shootings, and what did? We cut back security. That's messed up. I'm sorry. I got a hold of the National Association of SRO, and here's some things that an SRO can do. They foster relationships with students, and they actually can pull them out of abusive homes. They've removed students that were victims of sex trafficking. They've kept students from suicidal thoughts because they built up relationships. What are we doing now? We're playing right into the defund the police movement. It's ridiculous. $48,000 is all that needs to be paid. Let's do the right thing. Let's make our school marketable. We don't have a gifted and talented program. Let's bring that back. An online academy that is actually full-time, where the kids can enroll there and graduate from Somerset. That's going to bring in money. Each student is $16,000. Let's partner with businesses in a big way, not just going out and asking them for checks. Let's have a program where they have student-run businesses well, there needs to be more, I'm sorry. Once again, if we need to make cuts, administration cuts right now, not teachers.
Thanks, Steve.
Every staff member that works with a student has a chance to save their life, same as a school resource officer. You bring in more school resource officer, you lose a counselor that could have saved someone's life, or a social worker that could have saved someone's life, or a teacher that could have saved someone's life. No, absolutely not. I don't believe in defund the police at all.
No
Can I
interruptions,
answer my
please.
question? Thank you. Okay, so every staff member in a school district is just as important to changing a child's life. I, as most of you know, and I've had a lot of your students, have worked with kids that are in extreme situations, and teachers call, in social workers, we are mandated reporters for abuse, for drug abuse. I've put kids in homes, I've put kids in places for rehab, things like that. A teacher can do that too. And taking away staff in any way, shape, or form is not going to address the needs of our students. We do partner with businesses. We do have a school store. Again, marketing. You need to look into these things. You need to see what's out there and see what our schools are actually doing and not be afraid. Our schools are doing amazing things. We have college programs. We have kids that go to college full time and we still get their tuition. I have a daughter in Brazil right now that was sent there through the Somerset High School with the help of the counselors. My other daughter struggled in high school, and again, with the help of counselors, social workers, and administration, is doing phenomenal. And they supported her through things that were very, very difficult. Mental health is way more prominent than school shootings, and school shootings end up from kids that are not supported by their teachers. That is what we need to do. Our schools are great. Please get out there and see them and see what they're doing. And the board, we need to advertise more what we are doing, because every single thing that was said is happening. It is happening in our schools.
Thank you. Lori?
So in my opinion, one of the best things about Somerset School District is its size. I love how my children had the opportunity to participate in whatever activity they wanted to. I love the effort that we've made to keep our class sizes small, and I love the small town feeling and that connection that comes between staff and families, because the staff truly care about their students. I'm a passionate believer in public education and in our greater community. I continue involvement and positive representation of our schools by raising funds for our Somerset Memorial Scholarships. We give away multiple scholarships, 50, 60 scholarships every year from money that we raise selling 50-50 tickets at home events. I coordinate and chaperone the ski club for 5th through 12th graders. And I work with first graders on a weekly basis to help them develop their reading skills. We have tremendous schools in Somerset, and I'm proud of them. And I think a lot of people will be coming to Somerset for the small town school that we have, the small town feeling. Declining enrollment is not just Somerset. This is a nationwide issue. And we're fortunate in Somerset that we live in St. Croix County either the first or second largest growing county in Wisconsin. The last time we did a population study was probably about 20 years ago, and at that time, only 3 of every 10 households in our school district had children in school. So declining enrollment is something that's facing the entire nation. And we have great schools here, and I think that we do attract families. And as families move in, as the village people were talking about the growth of housing developments, my understanding is a lot of the housing developments going in the township anyway, most of those households are made up of people in their 50s or older. They don't have kids in school anymore.
Wait a second, I do. I'm
All
over
right.
50.
Thank you. Danny?
So, going off of what Lori said, we do have a great sense of community in our small town. I love how it revolves around our sporting and school events, and I'm so happy that we're here with our 4 kids. And thankful to the teachers who have been here for 30 years and invested their time and talents into our students instead of choosing to work across the river where the pay is better. Living and working in one's community does take commitment and accountability, and that's a great strength of our teachers and staff. If elected, I would love to work hard for the benefit of all students, families, and staff while holding true to my personal values. I would love to work on a parental bill of rights where we have a short and sweet document to tell parents up front what their rights are, and then provide links to policy that can direct them how to assert those rights. It's easy for parents to get lost in the hundreds of pages of policy and handbook where they can feel confused and defeated at times, and this goal would help to empower parents. If time would allow, I would love to do a similar one for staff and special needs. Thank you.
We're jumping around. We're talking about what we'd like to see the future of the district.
How do you envision the future, and then sort of your final piece?
You know, I kind of like to focus on the mission statement for the school district itself, which is together we engage, educate, empower all learners, bridging their passions to pathways to create successful futures and positively contribute to their local and global communities. I think everyone who hasn't should take a look at the strategic plan that is out on the Somerset, Wisconsin School District webpage, where things such as supporting the social emotional learning, character development, and mental health of all students, promoting a culture of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging for all students. I think that those are things that we have to absolutely hit on in this next generation of our kids. No, we're not Minneapolis. But you know what? Minneapolis is becoming us. I know we live in a predominantly white, look around you. There's not a person of color in this room. Predominantly white, predominantly Christian, predominantly straight community. But we have a lot of kids. Pardon me?
People aren't intentionally.
Let's let her finish her.
I get tired of labeling white as
Let's
bad.
just let her finish.
All I'm saying is that we live in a rather non-diverse community, all right? I think we can all probably agree with that. But diversity is coming our way. We need to let our kids know, every single one of our kids, that they belong in this district. Ideally, what I would like to see the future of this district look like is that we would have enough money to pay our teachers enough to survive, that we would get funding for the programs that we need to have, that we can bring back the gifted and talented program and have a school resource officer and deal with the mental health of our students. I have some things in my back pocket that I think that make me a good candidate. I worked in the business community for 25 years for 3M, Blue Cross and Blue Shield, and St. Paul Travelers. I understand business and fiscal policies. The last 10 years of my career, I worked at the Stillwater Prison, where I taught building character and restorative practices to the men of the prison. I have a pretty good idea of what restorative practices could really look like if we implemented it fully into our school system, where people have a chance to take responsibility for the wrongs that they've done, where we build our web of relationships within our school districts. I think the future of Somerset schools is exciting, but we can't live in the past, and we have to move into the future, and we have to trust our kids that they are able to do that. We have to give them the tools to do that, and that's how I see us moving forward. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
The next 20 years of this school district is incredibly important to me. I have a 13-month-old son and a daughter due this summer. We're in this school district to stay. I had a great experience. I expect them to have a great experience. I expect all your children to have a great experience. Someone mentioned advertising. The things happening in our school, I knew there was a lot of good things going on, and then I got into the board. The amount of awesome things happening blows my mind. I mean, at the end of every meeting, the board members have a little round table, I don't know what you want to call it, but celebrations. So everybody gets to say, hey, here's this person did this, and this group did this. It's so awesome to see that. If you're not watching the board meetings, you miss most of it. I think it's really important for us as a district to find a way to get that information out, make it known. There's so much to be proud about here. It's unreal. Along with that, I agree with a lot of the stuff that was said up here tonight. We need our teachers to have support. Our students have to have the support. The end goal for everybody up here is to have our students more than prepared to take the next step of their life after graduation, whether it's college, tech school, military, straight to work. Whatever they do, doesn't matter. It's our job to make sure they're prepared to take that step. Thank you.
Thank you. 20 or 30 years?
If you think it'll be different, you can choose.
Anyways, so here's where I see this community as a whole. Responsible growth, housing, retail, industrial development in this community. Financial stability for the community for years to come. Transparency of government to the residents. And just unity and community working together instead of against each other. I'm hearing that a lot. I'm the new guy looking from the outside in. So, but what I can bring to the table is over 35 years of leadership. I've traveled throughout the United States and fixed a lot of businesses, put a lot of procedure processes, all of the above. I'm a doer, not a talker. So I work very hard, but I don't work hard for me. I work hard for the community. So it's not about me. So that's what I have.
I can envision over the next 20 years the parks being redone and kids playing in the parks, people walking a trail system that's being currently developed, and hopefully it gets developed even more. We have a unique and beautiful gems called the Apple River. It's very underutilized. When I moved here 20 plus years ago, I didn't even know there was a park down in the lower level until about 2 years after I got here. I think we need to utilize that more. I mean, we decided as a community that we're going to put a dog park down there, and hopefully that'll attract more people to that area. And also, over time, I would hope that we could look at advancing some of our other parks and other developments and getting them to grow. I'd like to see, more kids playing in ball fields and more kids sliding down the hills and utilizing the assets that we have at our disposal. But also, I also envision more businesses downtown. Within the next 6 to 8 months, you're going to start seeing some construction in this town that you haven't seen in a while. There's been construction on the outside of town already, and we are already with Growing Wings. It's a assisted living facility for youth. That's being built right here in town. That's going to bring jobs to town, and you're going to also see that right downtown. We managed to just close a deal, and it helped a broker getting it closed, and we sold the land for market value, which is what we were directed to, and I listened to the people. And I think most of all, what I'm envisioning is that we all just be nice and listen to people. Because I think at the end of the day, if we don't, it's not about hearing people, it's about listening to people. And we can make this community a lot better that way. Thanks.
My vision for the village future would be basically keep it simple, plan, be smart growth, have smart growth, keep our taxes at a minimum, of course. And my biggest thing is I want to make sure our community stays safe with good policing. I want to see a little more policing interaction with the community. Another thing is I have a student here in Somerset, and I feel that she needs a little help. And the teachers here are wonderful. And I hope we don't lose that as we grow. So always keep that in mind when we're up here battling back and forth. But these teachers are good. They treat my daughter like they're their own.
So when Chris said the vision 20 years from now, the first thing that came to my mind is sitting on my front porch with my husband, kind of enjoying the fruits of all the labor and all the planning and all the good things that we're going to do over the next 20 years. So I'm looking forward to that, Gary. But I envision us having a beautiful downtown that's thriving, where people want to come and visit our small businesses. A lot of, I've heard a lot that we don't want to get too big. We want to retain that small town charm. So that's really at the forefront of my vision. I envision a community where community members are involved and engaged and have a say. I co-chair the Somerset Champions Council with Kim, and we're doing some really cool stuff. We've got an Adopt the Pot program that's happening, a mural in the works. We're getting ready to launch our community cleanup day. We're a small group, and I envision that group being really a leader in the community to make things better, to drive the things that we want to see in the community. I also envision a community where we have a strong culture. They come together to embrace and celebrate our heritage, our French-Canadian heritage. I totally agree with Donnie about the parks. I think we need better parks. I'd like to see lighting and picnic tables and things to do down by that beautiful river. And it's really rough when you go down there right now. And the other thing that I hear a lot is there's nothing for our kids to do. And that's not a good place to be. I'd like to see us have a community center for our kids, a place where they can do rec sports and do arts and crafts and those types of things, because I think that we need that. I just hear it all the time. I see us having a strong industrial base that is going to allow us to have tax money and provide jobs for our community, but yet retain that small town charm. And I see a community where we care for each other, and I think we've touched on this a little bit. I think it's really important that we learn to have a lot of care in how we talk to and about our neighbors, and really create that culture of care, because that's really the foundation of community. And lastly, I just want to touch on real quickly, because we didn't get to ask this question. I do have a lot of board experience. I served on the board of the Community Action Coalition in South Central Wisconsin for 7 years. It's a very large nonprofit. It's government funded and privately funded. We had a $28 million budget for 4 of those years. I chaired the board. Twice I led the community needs assessment. And we talked a lot about diversity and being able to work in diversity, and that board was very, very diverse. So I hope that I've said enough to earn your vote. If you want to hear more about me, I've got cards that you can, it's got my platform on it, and I do have a website, and I'd love to talk more with anybody who has any questions.
Great, thank you. Well, again, I want to thank all of the candidates for coming out. I think this is an important part of that democratic process. The chamber is going through a little transition on its own. I just want to take this public opportunity to thank Becca for everything that she has done to build the chamber to where it is today. She, for health reasons, is doing a little bit less with the chamber over the next little period of time, and we'll be working through that. But without Becca's help, we would not be where we are as an organization. I will say that in a lot of communities, the business community, the city, the schools really work well together and invest in that community. As you see more and more residents come into the city, you want to see an equal number of industrial businesses, other businesses come in, both to build up that downtown as well as to create that tax base. So in most communities, businesses pay in about $1.07 for every dollar they give back in services. Homeowners generally pay in about 85 cents. So if you get out of balance, the only way you bring the budget back in balance is by having dramatic tax increases, which you see on the other side of the river, where you see double-digit 20% tax increases in certain cities. So it's important to listen to what a lot of the members up here were saying was continue to bring businesses here so they can employ people, they can work here. That creates funding to support the school district, and that also creates funding to build roads, fund parks, and do other things. So that partnership is important. That partnership is critical to building a community, and we as the chamber are here and willing to partner with whoever wants to work with us to help and continue to grow this community into what people would like to see. So with that, we have pie. It is Pie Day, for those that remember pie from back when we were in school. So we have pizza pie, and we have pie pizza from Rendezvous across the street, and we have pie from Dick's Market. So on your way out, or if you'd like to mingle and talk to candidates, have a piece of pie and share some stories. So thank you.
We do have the room until 9 o'clock.
One last thing, as you're leaving, if we can have you help stack the chairs back up, that would be very helpful. Thank you.
We have the room until 9, so you can feel free to stay until about 10 too, if you want to chat.